Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to do another book talk. Today's going to be a book talk of the sequel of the last book talk I did. So today I'm going to be doing a book talk on the Ask and the Answer, the second book in the Chaos Walking trilogy by Patrick Ness. I am so involved in this series. I love this trilogy so much. Really into it. I loved the first one. I love this one. I'm so excited to get around to reading the third one. As this is a sequel, I'm not going to have many spoiler-free notes. The only spoiler-free notes that I feel like I do have is that I didn't feel like it was as exciting as the first one, like the whole way throughout. The ending picked up and was just really great. But I still enjoyed it, like I still enjoyed reading it, but I just don't feel like it was as exciting. But I still gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, an A, and I did really enjoy it. I love the characters so much. I don't think I can really say anything else without going into spoilers. I'm super excited to talk about this book, so let's do it. So at the beginning of this book, we pick up probably like not that long after the events of the first book. Todd wakes up in what was Haven and now is, I think, New Prentice Town. Obviously he's confused because Viola was dying in his arms. He was faced with Mayor Prentice. After the events of the first book, I was like, I need to know what's going to happen. So when I got into the second book, I was like, is she okay? What's happening? What's going on? I need to know. Mayor Prentice is trying to make out as if he's the good guy, and I just can't, because we know what he did. We know what he's done in the past. So I'm just here like, you're trying to get in my good books. Do you really think it's going to be as easy as saying, oh, look at me, I'm the good guy? Like, it's not going to be that easy, mate. I don't know why, but there was just like one part of me was like, maybe this is Patrick Ness like messing with us. Maybe he is the good guy. At the end of book 1, we get hinted at there being a possibility of there being an actual cure, and then we find out that there is, and it's in the form of like medication. I thought it would be a permanent thing. I thought you go through some like medical procedure and you'll be like ridden of the cure, but it's actual like pills. It's actual medication, which is a really weird way. So obviously the cure is not something you can completely get rid of. You have to keep like topping it up, and Mayor Prentice uses it as a bribe. He makes it a luxury, despite the noise being a burden to everybody. He makes it a luxury. Initially he has given it out to everybody, but if someone messes up, if someone goes against him, he's like, well, that's your privileges taken away, that's your cure taken away. David Prentice Jr. is a lot more prevalent in this book, and I actually really enjoyed it because we kind of get to know him a bit more. Straight off the bat, when we first meet him, I'm just like, you are just as bad as your father. Your father's harsher, but he's more mature about it, whereas you are just childish. He's so childish in his actions and his words, and it's just so annoying. You're just like, grow up. He's obviously not that old, but he's obviously older than Todd. You're trying to impress your father. Maybe you should just act a lot more mature. Like, you're kind of annoying me. Obviously we learn that in New Prentice Town the men and the women have been split up, which is kind of like Prentice Town before, but obviously before we just thought the women were like gone and dead, but they've been split up. The men have more freedom, they actually have a life, whereas the women are like shut off. I could rant on and on about how annoying that is, how much that makes me hate Mayor Prentice. You're trying to create a good world, you're trying to say that you're going to make the best world, that you're a good guy, but you're oppressing these women. If you want everyone to love you, if you want everyone to trust you, maybe don't shut away the women, maybe don't oppress them. Everything in this town is so controlled, it's like a prison. Obviously they have to have rules, like everywhere has rules, but it's just so controlled. I would get so depressed. Why would you want to live there? I would run away. I doubt there's like any other places, but I would run away. I'd be so depressed. Mayor Prentice is trying to get into my good books. He's probably also trying to get into Todd's good books. Well, he screws those chances by testing on the spackle. I know they're not like completely human. Aren't they like the people who lived on that planet? And you're testing on them, making them unable to communicate. Because obviously you've like tested on them with the noise, with the cure for the noise. Meaning that they have no way of communicating because they communicated through the noise. It's not like they can speak. They communicate through the noise, and then you've completely taken that away from them. It's not like, oh, it will wear off once the drugs are worn off. It's like you completely got rid of that for them, and that is just so annoying because only way they can communicate is through like grunts and little noises. So apparently the women either died in the war or killed themselves so the men couldn't survive. I strive to be petty, but I don't strive to be that petty. Going back to the spackle, you see themes and ideas of discrimination and prejudice through the way that like Davy treats them, and it's just so horrible to watch the way he just doesn't care about them. He just thinks of them as dirt and as filth. He doesn't think of them as actual living beings, which they are, because they move, they breathe, they need food to survive, and he's just literally treating them like they're nothing. Another thing that emphasizes my anger about this is how they react, how the spackle react to this torture. Yeah, they can't talk, yeah, they can't communicate, but they can still make noises, and you can tell that they're in pain through the noises they make. When I was reading it, I was just in complete shock. Throughout the majority of this book, Todd and Viola are split up, so when they actually do reunite a few times throughout the book, so heartwarming. They set out on this journey together, so for them to be reunited reunited again. It's just so heartwarming. When I was talking about the first book, I did say how I don't feel like their relationship is romantic, but there are a few aspects in this book which makes me think it might develop into a romantic relationship, and I don't know if I want that. I kind of want them to just be best friends or kind of like brother and sister. I don't know how I feel about it being romantic. I think because we know that they're 13, I'm a bit like, they're 13, they're a bit young. I did say in my other book talk that maybe when they're a bit older, but right now I don't want to see that. I don't know if that's going to happen in the film, because obviously I feel like they are going to age up the characters, so that could happen in the film. They could develop a romantic relationship between Todd and Viola in the film. And I don't know if I want that. I really don't know if I want that. Going back to May Apprentice, once again, he's always like, Todd, I'm the good person here. You gotta trust me. If you want to be the good guy, stop hurting people. Stop hurting the people that you're trying to persuade that you're a good person. You're trying to tell Todd that, Todd, I'm the good person. But stop hurting him. Stop hurting the people he loves. And then he messes up again by lying. He said that Maddie's killer would get hung. He said that Maddie's killer would die. Did Maddie's killer die? No. Viola kind of says to Mistress Coyle that her ways are kind of just as bad as Prentice's. They both do equally as bad stuff. The answer are setting off bombs around New Prentice Town. But then the ask are like torturing people. Even though the answer aren't intentionally setting out to kill individuals, they are still like damaging a town and killing people. New Prentice Town, they're not killing people, they are still like purposely hurting individuals. So they are both as bad as each other, which is so frustrating because it's not like you can root for either one. In other books like this, you'd be like, I'm definitely rooting for that team, like I know that team's the better one. Whereas this one, you're like, no team is the best, no side is the best. It's got to the point where I'm like, Todd, Viola, run away, make your own team, I'll root for you. We see that like the separation from Viola is making Todd just completely lose it. He ends up torturing the Spackle, whereas before he didn't like that. He wouldn't want to do that. He was trying to get Davy to not do that. But now he's actually like hurting the Spackle. I don't think he actually really means it. It's just he's losing it. He's so depressed without Viola. He's just feeling this loss. He's feeling this loss within him that he's just kind of putting it out on the Spackle. And then he has that moment where he's like seeing the parallels between when he killed the Spackle in the first book. Once again, I'm just so annoyed because he is hurting so bad and I don't like that. I want him to be okay. I want him to feel alright. I don't want him to hate himself for any of this. And as I said, because Todd and Viola are on separate sides, they are starting to like oppose each other's thoughts or oppose each other's opinions and beliefs. Obviously Todd's going to be opposing the bombing, and there's obviously stuff that's happening in New Prentice Town that Viola's opposing, and it's so sad because I think it's more like the miscommunication and them not talking to each other. Todd believes that Viola's got to be part of these bombings because she ran away to be with the answer, so obviously she wants to do this. So we think the answer has killed the Spackle when that big kind of massacre of Spackle happens. We think it's the answer. It wasn't. I have a hunch, but I don't want to get into that right now. I trusted Mayor Ledger, and all this time he's been his friend. He's a werewolf, that's why he's been missing classes. That was a Harry Potter quote if you didn't guess. Obviously the werewolf bit's not true, I just kind of added that on because the bit before I said was a Harry Potter reference and I had to carry it on. Long-winded answer to that, oh well. Anyway, going back to that point, I trusted Mayor Ledger. I thought he was a good guy. He's been relaying everything he's been hearing in Todd's noise to May Apprentice. But then he dies, so it's fine. When Viola gave Todd the information about where the answer were going to be when they were going to attack, I was actually thinking like, wait, I think that's the wrong information. Is she giving him the wrong information so that the wrong information is in his noise so that if he accidentally lets it out, it doesn't matter? Actually, Viola gave the information that she thought was true to Todd, but actually Mistress Coyle was being sneaky and gave the wrong information to Viola. She made Viola think that the truth is a lie and the lie is a truth. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Mistress Coyle, I thought that was really genius. Who knows if it helped because stuff still went down, like bad stuff is still happening at the end of the book. Who knows that if maybe they did fight, it could have like worked out better, I don't know. I don't know why I didn't see this until near the end of the book, but the parallels between Todd, and I'm gonna butcher the name, but I think it's Angharad, the horse basically. You can see parallels between Todd and the horse and Todd and Manchi, which I think is so cute. I kind of forgot about Manchi throughout this book, but then I realised that the way he's talking to the horse is kind of like how he would talk to Manchi, and it's just so sweet because I just want Manchi back. I really want Manchi back. I miss him so much. Bear in mind what I said at the beginning. By the end of this book, I feel so sorry for Davy. I think his character development in this book is amazing. He does start to realise that maybe his dad isn't as good as he thought he was, and that maybe he wants to start helping Todd. He might want to start fighting on Todd's side. And I just felt so sorry for him. Like, he's finally becoming a good person. Like, I'm finally liking him, and I can finally see this connection and this friendship happening between him and Todd. And then he dies. Basically, by the end of this book, they're kind of screwed. Like, the Spackle are marching towards them, and let me just get to that. So, you know, I was saying like, oh my god, who killed the Spackle? It was obviously Prentice. Like, it was obviously Prentice who did it. He killed all these Spackle so that the other Spackle would get annoyed and want to fight Todd. And how did I forget? A ship has landed. So much stuff is happening. Todd has to deal with New Prentice Town. He has to deal with the answer. He has to deal with the new ship. and he has to deal with the spackle. That's 4 things that he has to deal with and try and get right by the end of the next book. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm so scared for his and Viola's life. I love them, they're so precious. I love these characters so much, and I'm just so worried about their life. So that is it for my book talk on the Ask and the Answer. Once again, it's a pretty good book. I was pretty like, what is going on? Stop hurting the great characters. Stop being annoying. This past like 24 hours have just been a bit like mix of emotions. Like last night I went to go and see Detroit. I will talk about that in my August wrap up because oh my god, that was an experience. And then this morning I went university shopping. I went shopping for all the stuff I'm gonna need for university. And not gonna lie, I spent a lot of money. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have read this book, let me know some of your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. All my links are in the description below, and I'll see you guys in my next video.